and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to bring to you Twiztid.
Season 1, Episode 1, Twiztid.
Welcome everyone to Season 1, Episode 1 of the Juggalo Rewind. This season we are talking about Mostasteless by Twiztid.
Right.
My name is Peter. I'm here with Chris. What's going on, Chris? And as you may have listened to our Episode 0, we talked about what this season is all about. If you haven't listened to that yet, go back and give Episode 0 a listen, and we'll be here waiting for you. Then you'll understand what we're doing. But this episode is about the first track off of Twiztid's album Mostasteless. Before we start talking about this track, we want to let you know where to find us on the internet. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Juggalo RWD for the Juggalo Rewind. You can also find us on Facebook. Just Google or search bar Juggalo Rewind. Chris is the expert at the, what do you call it, the algorithm there. It's terrible. So
The algorithm.
We're mostly Twitter and Instagram, but you can find us on Facebook as well.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have one, I guess, for all the boomer juggalos out there.
I mean, that's us. If you've listened to the
You're Gen X, aren't you?
No, I'm the, what do you call that? The elder millennial? Or the
Geriatric millennials,
Yes.
I think that's what they call us.
And then if you want to email us, that's juggalorwd@gmail.com. Feel free to drop us an email or anything on social media. Questions, comments,
Complaints.
probably mostly.
We're here for all of it.
We'll put that right in the trash. Or we'll show it to everyone. We'll put you in the last episode.
Maybe you'll be a guest.
Yeah, pop us. While you're on our social media, we want to give you a little opportunity to help spread the word about the Juggalo Rewind and possibly get a little prize for it.
Everyone likes merchandise in the Juggalo world.
I think so, and everyone's going to like this one. We have, for one lucky listener, a copy of the Mostasteless 20th anniversary vinyl.
It's a goodie.
It is. So one lucky listener is going to be able to win that from us to you, and there's going to be a couple ways for you to win that. Chris, you're better at explaining this. You tell us how a listener can do this.
We're going to do three entries for this one. First, rate, review on Apple, iTunes, are the same thing, right?
I think so. Yeah.
That's the only place you could rate and review. You can't do that on Spotify. Give us a follow there as well, but that's not an entry. Rate, review for entry, and then we'll have an Instagram post. Like it, follow us, tag a friend on that post. That'll be an entry. And then on Twitter, use the hashtag Mostasteless Rewind. We're going to do the rewind or just RWD?
Let's do the full word. Mostasteless Rewind. If you know how to spell both of those words, then you've already got one leg up on some people.
Yeah, they got three entries there. Twitter, Instagram, and a little rate review ski on Apple. And there you go. There's three chances throughout the season. And yeah, we'll remind you as we go. But those are your chances to get it. Help us spread the word through all your Juggalo friends.
Yes. Tell one person, tell one of your friends next time you're at a show, next time you're in the chat room, next time you're on the Discord. Is that what they call it? Whatever you're doing out there, tell a friend, spread the word. And if you use the hashtag Mostasteless Rewind, you may win a little prize from us. Tune in at the end of the season and see if you win.
Find out who the winner is.
So, as we said, this is the episode we're talking about the track Twiztid/intro. We don't have a guest this week. It's just me and Chris. Very sad, very lonely. In the future, we may have guests, but for this episode...
We're going to get our bearings going on our,
Correct. No guest. We're going to jump right into it. We're talking track 1 on the Mostasteless album, Twiztid. The producer, Mikey Clark, very famous, very evil. This comes in at 46 seconds.
We've already surpassed that on this podcast.
Yes. Track number, as we said, it's the first track on the original Mostasteless. It's also the first track on the reissue of Mostasteless.
That's right.
Little fun fact here, they did play this as an introduction before they came on stage when they opened the House of Horrors tour. So we're going to keep track of that as we go through the seasons. That's just a little nugget of information that we can tie all together, that, you know, what songs appeared when and where. And you'll see where that comes into play a little bit later. So let's get into a lyric deep dive. I'm going to talk about the lyrics on this one.
A lot of lyrics, right? Twiztid repeated over and over again, right? That's
yeah.
It's a loud screeches.
And there's some harmony in the background. There's some like what'd you call like gunshots or something? There's
chainsaws.
Yeah, the chainsaw. There's
So we discussed this for a second. We played the original and the reissue back to back. This could be just a speaker quality rip of it. You know, who knows? It sounds like the reissue, a little crisper. They pull that orchestra sounding voice in the background a little higher. I don't know if that's just, like I said, our speakers comparing the two. Who knows? Not much of a difference outside of that, I would say.
No, I think if we're talking, and we're going to do this throughout the season, comparing the original to the reissue, I think they're very similar. If not identical, but like you said,
maybe cleaned up, a little bit of a remastering on it. That's about it.
Yeah, a little bit cleaner.
The one difference, we looked at this too, the original is just called Twiztid. Reissue, Twiztid, in parentheses, intro. So they added the intro on there.
That does make sense.
Well, in case people were confused.
Yeah, it's never like, you're a fan of Bad Company. You have the band Bad Company, the album Bad Company, and the song Bad Company.
I mean, when a song is that hot and a band is kicking, you know, I name them all three. It works.
This is not a Bad Company podcast.
Maybe there'll be a bonus. If we get to a Patreon, we'll do a Bad Company review.
Anyone who wants us to do 70s and 80s rock, feel free to hit us up and tell us what band you want us to do this. But that's beside the point. This is the Juggalo rewind,
That's
not
right. No, I mean, we'll touch on it a little later. There is some 80 vibes on some remixes on these tracks down the line, so Bad Company could come into play. You never know.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
just to tie it back. Why?
If you want us to have a season with Chris's mom doing 38 Special, then we can do that, or Molly Hatchet. But we're sticking to Juggalo Rewind right now. Oh, the intro. You can tell that we're stretching here. Please listen to the rest of our season. Don't just judge it. You know, judge everything on this episode.
Hey, we gotta go through it all, you know. So
like
even the skits and intros get a little bit of love on our end.
Like we said, this was played live, or I mean, not performed live, but it was played before Twiztid hit the stage on the House of Horrors tour.
Lights dimmed. Jason and Michael Myers saunter out on the sides.
Very spooky.
This is going. I can feel it. It feels good.
It does set the mood. I mean, it sets the vibe for the CD, right? And we're kind of feeling our way through here, what we're going to do for each song. This one's a little tough, but there's no real, I mean, what we would call like a tie to history or to the Juggalo culture on the song, right? It's kind of, I wouldn't say it's a throwaway, but it's so quick that I can picture like you're in your car, right, in the 90s, and you pop the CD in, or it's on like the 5-disc changer, and it comes on, like, you're not skipping over this. It's like, it's 46 seconds. Like, it sets the mood. It rolls right into the next song.
In 99, you don't. In modern times, you do, because everyone's attention span's a lot shorter. Like, 46 seconds of this chainsaw and gunshots and...
Very, very creepy music. I didn't go so far as, like, compare it to other intro songs on other CDs, but it's, I don't know. It's just kind of there.
It fits, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it is good, bad, and different. It's just, it sets the mood.
It gives you it's 46 seconds, gives you a nice little anticipation to a new band on that label that you're a fan of. So it works for what it is.
Theoretically,
perfectly fit.
Yeah, you didn't buy this at the show because they were performing, almost a year before the CD came out. But theoretically, you saw them on tour, you went and bought the CD, and it introed just like you introed when you saw them live. So that's a good little tie-in.
Yeah, a little tie-in.
Now, let's fast forward a little bit to an alternate version of this intro. So as we said, This was the intro on the original version, which came out in late 98, and then also in the reissue in late 99.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're in the summer of 2000. Cryptic Collection, the CD, has come out. And it's the first track on that, right?
It is.
What's it called?
Twiztid Intro 2.
Oh my God, Intro 2.
Yeah. So same thing, Twiztid Intro 2 in parentheses, but Intro 2 is listed like one word. The 2 is tagged on. There's no space between intro and the number 2. If we want to get very technical here on what it's called.
Chris is drinking heavily. He's getting very technical about this. As we mentioned, the intro on the most tasteless versions, not a whole lot. Just who we speculate is Violent J saying Twiztid over and over with spooky songs.
All slowed down and chopped up.
Now, this version on Cryptic Collection 1 has Jamie Madrox going through what I would say, I didn't see how long this was, but a similar length of actual lyrics, like reading off, a little, what do you call it, diatribe, if you will.
It's like a rally cry, I would say.
And if you haven't listened to it, as Chris goes another...
Sorry, tried working in there.
It's definitely worth a listen. In the liner notes, they say that it was just, they record it and right before Mostasteless came out, and they just wanted a different vibe for it.
Yes, so this was intended to be used on the first pressing of Mostasteless, but by the time the album was finished, they felt they needed a better intro to set the mood.
I can see that, but I also really like how this one came out.
Yeah, it gets you hyped for sure.
I also just looked it up, and it is 1 minute and 3 seconds long.
Oh, a lot longer. Not a lot longer. A little bit more.
Ton longer. Oh, my God. It takes up the whole CD.
I like when he kicks that second half in, and he's like, there's a war going on. That part gets me.
That is funny, like that you say that. It is kind of like a rallying cry.
Which side are you on? There's a war being raged on the streets, as well as in my mind. We must rise up, overcome, and take back what's ours.
Looking through the lyrics, I don't know if there's anything that like sticks out as like what would we call it? Like a everlasting line in Juggalo history. It's not like something that gets repeated. I don't know have they ever used this live? That's a good question.
I don't believe so, but there could have been at the time of this release.
Yeah,
who knows?
Twiztid's really good about throwing in little things like that. I bet they had a random gathering or something where they came in with this and everyone's like, oh, that's cool. Or people are like, what the fuck is this? Which is also a possibility.
But like you said, they try to do that a lot. They pull a lot of nostalgic or throwback stuff for deep dives for fans. Yeah. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you got to give them credit. They do try that.
Yeah. If they haven't, maybe they should. They should throw that out the next time they're doing some kind of show. But yeah, if you haven't listened to this intro, we will try to post something. I'm sure it's on YouTube. If you look on our social medias or follow us on our website, which is juggalorewind.com, full juggalorewind.com. We'll try to post something on there on the episode notes, and you can follow along with this specific version of the intro. I think it's better. I get why they did it, why they have the original version. I say original version, but this is kind of, now we're going backwards. The one that's on the original Mostasteless, but I think this is a good little change, something different.
The other one's more generic, more of an intro. So we're going to, I guess, speculate they turned in this version, and then it was discussed internally throughout the label that
the office.
Something different would fit better. I don't know. I think over time the one that's on the album probably fits better.
Yeah, maybe they didn't want too much, it to be too wordy. Mm-hmm. It's still cool, but maybe they just want a slow climb into what would turn into one of their hottest songs.
Yeah, so. Because the slow build to the record scratch into the track definitely works. It's
also interesting. So I don't want to question the liner notes of said Cryptic Collection 1, but if you look at the lyrics to this alternate intro, it ends with talking about bringing to you old school Twiztid.
I think they added that, right?
Well, if I'm saying, you think they added that, like, oh, I understand.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to bring to you, it probably just said Twiztid in the original recording.
It could be, or they just added those two lines talking about the old school Twiztid is what's on the Cryptic collection. I was thinking, like, why would they be talking about old school Twiztid on their first CD?
No, yeah, that's those two final lines are probably added. If anything, the last line is definitely added.
I wonder if they would re-record something like that.
It flows pretty seamlessly.
Yeah, I don't know. These are questions. This is why we bring these things up. We're nitpicking lyrics on an intro
that no one listens to.
On a CD that was only released online and at the Gathering, and also that's not true because it was re-released on one of their distribution deals years later, so it got a little bit more.
Still a little bit of rarity, right?
I would say so. Like, I don't have a dollar amount on what Cryptic Collection goes for nowadays, but at the time they had, the two different covers, and it was only at the Gathering and only on their first tour, but it got a little more distributed at a later time. So hardcore collectors, I think, go for the original versus the red music is the one that distributed. And then there was another one that I think had a new catalog number. So if you get that deep into the collecting, then
it's almost like when you look at the Beatles on, if anyone collects vinyl and you go on Discogs, you look at some of their old pressings, there's like 47 pressings and different barcodes and different versions. So it doesn't get that deep, but there definitely is that level when it comes to collecting the Juggalo music. Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, we've talked in the past that we did our share of collecting and we still do, but there are some people that are just, different colors of screws and on the tapes and different, phone numbers and serial numbers. So all stuff we'll try to touch on throughout these as we break down the albums. Yeah, if that's your bag, so be it. It's just we can't personally keep up on that. So just to wrap up this episode here on the intro track, it's kind of hard to rate, where does it fall on the CD or in Twiztid history. I guess we just kind of an intro, so you could just put it in. Is it an intros and skits and things of that nature? Is it memorable? Does it stand out over others? I don't think so. I think it's just kind of there. Yeah. Again, I wish we could just. I didn't think to go and look at every Twiztid intro because we were just thinking we were going to compare to the CD itself, right? But yeah, it's there. It's not good. It's not bad. But like I said, I think I like the alternate version, but I fully understand why they didn't use something so wordy. Wordy. I don't know. Do we have anything else on this episode? This could be a quick one. A little quick ski. Nothing wrong with that. Do we want to discuss? So this was produced by Mikey Clark. Do we want to get into that part where this is a kind of that period of we have the old Twiztid House of Crazy sound and the new Psychopathic sound with Mikey Clark? Yeah, I think we'll touch on that in future episodes, but through our research, by my recollection, there's no liner notes on the original version, so we speculate that Mike Clark produced it, but on the reissue, the Island version, there's some notation that he did that, so that's I think why we assumed that it's Violent J's. Yeah, so I think that's a fair speculation to say that he did it and that maybe it wasn't Twiztid's first choice, but when you're on a new record label, they kind of put what's on there, what they want. I think you'll let that slide. Yeah, you could take over the intro. Yeah, and there's a couple others that we'll talk about in future episodes that I think more tie into that. This is just kind of our speculation. Like this whole season is going to be our speculation. Right. So we try to be as factual as possible, but there's a little bit of a hearsay and question and just us bantering about. And if you know the correct answer, the real story, feel free to hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at JuggaloRWD. In case there's someone out there who knows the true history of an intro song, who knows? Yeah, there's people out there who need to know. All right, well, I think that's it for episode 1 of the Juggalo Rewind, season 1. Pretty good. What'd you say? It's an intro, just like this was intro. It is. We have an intro episode and then an episode about an intro.
Hopefully you stick
You
around.
actually hear us discuss music here soon.
Yeah, if you stick with us, you'll hear some real songs. But so far, so good. And I think that's it for...
Let that record scratch going on that next track.
Yeah. For Chris, this is Peter, and we will see you next week for episode 2 of the Juggalo Rewind. Thanks. All music played in this episode and in this entire season is owned by the respective publishers and copyright holders and is reproduced for review purposes only under fair use. Season 1 of the Juggalo Rewind, Mostasteless, has been produced and distributed with full permission from Magic Ninja Entertainment. Thank you to George, Mike, Dustin, and Twiztid, and everyone at Magic Ninja for allowing us to do this podcast for you.